What's up and welcome. This is me, you, and Switch 2. I'm me, Tom Tate, and you are you. So let's talk about Switch 2. This is your source for the latest Nintendo Switch 2 news. I pour through hundreds of articles and Reddit threads each week so that you don't have to. Today is Friday, August 22nd. I just want to pause here before we start and say that I hope that you had a great week. And if you didn't have a great week, I hope that today turns it around and you can coast into the weekend. It's been a long week for me personally, so I'm excited to be here with you today. There's been a lot of news this week, especially with the Kirby Air Riders Direct, which I covered in a bonus episode on Wednesday. So if you want to check that out, that should be up on the feed. I didn't cover all of the announcements that came out of Gamescom in Germany. So this was an event. It's a big annual event that happens. It kicked off with a live event and a web stream called Opening Night Live that happened on Tuesday, kind of 2 p.m.-ish my time on the East Coast here in the United States. It was hosted by Jeff Keighley, who we all know from the Video Game Awards. And we started getting game news in the pre-show before he even hit the stage. They had a 15, 20, 30-minute pre-show, and they were just rolling a bunch of trailers. So here's what we saw from Opening Night Live. We saw Bubsy 4D gameplay trailer. This is coming to Switch 2. It seems like the Bubsy franchise, which I honestly do not remember fondly. I don't remember these being incredibly great games. The Bubsy franchise is getting a bit of a revival. There's a collection release, and now we have a new 3D platformer coming. The release date is to be announced. We don't know yet. It has a very cool art style. I'll definitely give it that, and we'll keep an eye on this one. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is getting a Pac-Man World 2 repack DLC. So we have a little bit of Pac-Man in this upcoming racing game from the Sonic team. Hollow Knight Silksong. Maybe this was the star of the show. This was highly anticipated that we would learn more about Hollow Knight Silksong. Fans have been waiting for a very long time. We did get a gameplay trailer with no release date, but the release date was later revealed during the conference, and I will reveal that later in the episode. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight was revealed for Switch 2. This game looks like it will be a blast. It was very funny. All the same Lego franchise humor that you've come to expect from those games. But I think with Batman, they amp it up a little bit. This seems to be inspired by the Christopher Nolan film arc. So if you're a fan of those films and that era of Batman, I think you'll enjoy this one. Daemon X Machina announced their Titanic Scion demo, which is live now on Switch 2. So you can play that now. This game will release in September. There was an announcement for an Indiana Jones and the Great Circle DLC. This was an Xbox and PC game from Bethesda. The DLC is called The Order of Giants, which is coming next month in September. But then right afterwards, they revealed that the original title, the original game, is coming to Switch 2 in 2026. So you'll be able to play this on Switch. Technically, this is a Microsoft game coming to Switch, so maybe the first of many. We'll have to wait and see. We actually had later in the week YouTuber Nate the Hates, who has been pretty steady with leaking news this year. He shared Indiana Jones and the Great Circle won't be the only Bethesda game coming to Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. See that planet? You can go there. He's, of course, alluding to Starfield. And he said, aside from landing on PS5, Starfield is planned for release on Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. I wouldn't doubt that personally. I think Starfield, I don't want to call it a flop because I don't know the actual numbers, but I think Starfield wasn't received as well as it needed to be when it released. And I've heard it improved quite a bit since. And they definitely need to expand their base. So if it's coming to PS5 and Switch 2, that makes total sense from a business standpoint. We also received some more footage of Chronos, the New Dawn. This is arriving on Switch 2 September 5th. This was a survival horror game that we actually saw on the recent Nintendo Direct, the partner Direct, with that kind of post-apocalyptic BioShock-looking thing. We'll keep an eye on this one. Not my genre, but if it's yours, I hope that you enjoy it. So typically I've been hyper focused on the Switch 2 announcements and not really sharing the Switch 1 news, but I will say He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Dragon Pearl of Destruction, so this is kind of a old school retro side-scrolling beat 'em up, is coming to Switch 1, and that looks amazing. That looks like so much fun, just like the most recent X-Men one, or the Marvel one that is coming soon, and then the Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which was so much fun. And then there's a game called Absalom that is coming to Switch 1, and they both look really great. So check those out. I'm sure they'll be backwards compatible, so even if they don't have Switch 2 editions, Switch 2 versions, you'll be able to play them. That was just opening night live. So the news started to trickle out of the show throughout the week. We heard some more things. Here are some highlights from that. Elden Ring Tarnished Edition is coming in 2025. It was playable on the show floor. And honestly, from what I've read, the gameplay performance disappointed a lot of journalists who tried it out. Frame rate issues. This is a highly anticipated game. So it'll be a low point for fans, and it'll be a low point for Switch 2 if they can't clean up some of the gameplay and graphic challenges before this releases. On a bright note, I saw some footage of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. This footage was from Nintendo Life. This was also playable on the show floor. And Nintendo Life, the journalist there, I forget his name, I apologize, raved about the performance. Personally, having played it on PS5, I'll vouch for the video. It looked really, really good. I may be double dipping on this one whenever we get the release date. It's supposed to come in 2025. Great entry point if you never had a PS4 or PS5. And the price of PS5 just went up. So if you were waiting to play this game, it might be a little bit more expensive on PS5. So if you have a Switch, great news all around. I mentioned Hollow Knight Silksong, kind of the star of the show. It was playable, and by all accounts, it's looking and feeling very sharp. They announced the release date of September 4th. So after all this waiting, it's just around the corner, and it'll be on PS5, Xbox, Steam, Switch 1, Switch 2, you name it. This will be on all the things. Some other news hit this week. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond just got its ESRB rating. It'll be rated T for teen. Hopefully, we'll hear more about this game soon. We have a new gameplay trailer for Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles, which will launch on September 30th, 2025 on Switch and Switch 2. Ease X, or Ease 10, Proud Nordics, has been announced for Switch 2 for early 2026. And finally, I mentioned PS5 prices went up. So games analyst Daniel Ahmad wrote on Twitter, as an aside, Nintendo also explored raising prices on Switch 2 when tariffs were temporarily at 10% for Vietnam, and now they're at 20%. This is definitely impacting margins for them. While they may not be willing to raise prices right now, I can see them reconsidering next year. So I agree with this take. I don't think that Nintendo will raise any prices this year. They will ride out the holiday season. They will burn through as much inventory as they can. But I am anticipating if they have a hot game lineup next year, they're going to raise the price of the console, and it's just going to be due to the macroeconomic conditions that they're faced with. If it's hurting margins, they're going to increase, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait and see. Listen, that's it for today. There's a lot of good stuff coming. There's plenty to play. I actually put my Switch 2 aside this week. I played some Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4 on Xbox Game Pass. Really enjoyed it. Nice throwback to some simpler times back in, my mom's basement, playing a little bit of Tony Hawk Pro Skater on PlayStation 1 and N64 and all the things. So really, really great. Really enjoyed what I've played so far. I'm sure the Switch 2 edition is awesome too. Thank you so much for your time and attention. A kind rating or review goes a long way. I will read the best reviews on the show. Sharing the show with a friend or a Discord community goes even further. Switch2pod.com for all the things. That's switch with the number 2pod.com. Enjoy an amazing weekend. It's Friday. The sun is shining where I am. Hopefully it's shining for you. Much love. Now go play some games.